Hello, I'm Tyler here. How many people invest in stocks and lose money? This is such a common theme, and it's so common that it's almost a cliche now. One of the main factors in why people lose money is actually psychological traps, and understanding and mitigating these psychological traps will greatly improve your chances of being successful in the markets. There's 8 main traps that I'll cover in this video, in that if you can master, you can become the greatest investor that you could possibly become. The first one is anchoring trap. The anchoring trap is being over-reliant on what one originally thinks. It's always sticking to your presumptions rather than opening your mind, opening your perspective, and also being willing to grow and evolve. This happens for both investors, personal and institutional investors, and it happens with companies. And a prime example of this was Radio Shack. Radio Shack at one point in time was the biggest electronic retailer in the world. They had over 70,000 stores worldwide, and they were a multi-billion-dollar company. Their stocks was one of the hottest growing stocks in the 1990s. And at this time, many people thought Radio Shack would be around 20 years, 50 years down the road. Little did they know, two retailers, eBay or Amazon and Best Buy, were two players that were on the hunt to overtake them. And the difference with these two companies is they immediately were more reliant on e-commerce and on driving their brands through the internet. On the other hand, Radio Shack hadn't embraced the internet trend of selling electronics as much, and eventually they lost major market share and filed for bankruptcy, and at this point this company doesn't exist. So this is just an example of this anchoring trap and where it traps investors. The second one is the sunk cost trap, and I think this is one of the most common issues, or one of the common traps of investors. And sunk cost trap is simply thinking, I'm going to be successful at some point even if I've been losing major money on a stock. It's continuing to believe in a stock and putting too much emotional belief in it rather than just pull your losses and move on. And unfortunately, there's also this mindset that you'll somehow regain and be positive on the stock, which sometimes happen, other times it doesn't, and there's often a sunk loss cost that also occurs. So always be aware that you have a stock that falls into this category. Just move on, take your losses, you'll do better next time, and there's always great stocks out there. Always understand that. Confirmation trap is seeking people who have made decisions or given them insight in the past and thinking that these people are always right. It's often following the advice or guidance of people who are not professional level investors, who are not professional advisors, and who haven't had a success record. And oftentimes these people often haven't been successful themselves in the market, even though they will continue to advise you. And be careful, these people could be family, friends, acquaintances, anyone. So the next one is the blindness trap. Blindness is similar to the confirmation trap. It's people who are not willing to admit realities and who aren't objective, who are very subjective and emotional about the market, rather than look at it as a machine that people have very little control over. And rather than move with the currents of the market, they try to either move against it or think they can outsmart the market, which often leads to huge losses and just it's very destructive. The next thing is the relativity trap. And that's everyone, it's the mindset that one person's stock input or objectives is going to be the same as another person, and that person tries to apply their goals and their agenda to you and advise you likewise. This one is not innately destructive. It's not necessarily personal. Sometimes it's accidental, and it's important that you personalize your stock investing per your goals and what you would like to do with it, because some people are investing simply to help their retirement accounts, while other people are the 6 or 7 figure day traders or 8 figures who want to make a certain amount of income each month and each year. So be aware of this. The next one is irrational exuberance trap, and this is being overconfident in a stock because it's been hyped. It's received a lot of media coverage. There's a lot of speculation. It's going to be the next Amazon or the next Microsoft. It's the media is really good at overhyping companies, and stocks fall into this trap. So look at quantitative metrics and also do a lot of internal investigation into the company and profits, and also follow gut instincts, because there's a lot of exuberance nowadays with stocks, and you want to be able to divide realism from just artificial exuberance. Now the next one is known as the pseudo certainty trap, and this is the mindset that investors heavily limit their risk exposure when they're quite a bit up, or they increase their exposure when they're down. And what I mean by that is that they don't continue to apply their winning formula to their major stock gains, but instead when their stocks are down, they then put on the pedal. And this actually is a terrible formula. One should really think like a Formula One driver and put the pedal when their stocks are up, and continue to apply at that point. When their stocks are down, be very controlled and know when to step away and accept your losses and re-strategize. If I'm more than $1,000 or more than $3,000 on a day, I just pull out. I just stop. That's my personal strategy to avoid huge losses and just to regroup myself. And the last one is the superiority trap, and that's simply thinking you're better than everyone else, that you know everything about the market and there's no better minds. And always remember, there's a better mind, there's advice that you can seek, and there's probably insight in many different places, and never think that you know everything. Hopefully everyone learned something useful here, and please give me your feedback. Thank you for watching this video.